This is the one about the guy who grows up on a coast that has everything. From endless beaches to belching smokestacks. Hangs out with post-war migrant kids who learn to surf before they can speak English. He's not bad at school, better at the beach. Then surfing takes over. Becomes a scumbag journalist against dad's wishes. Travels the world looking for surfing excitement in all the wrong places. Washes up at Whale Beach and scores a job at Trax, the least disciplined surf mag in the world. Meets a girl, falls in love. Then come the kids, the mortgage, the real jobs, and the expensive booze and middle-class drugs. Writes a book, then another. Soon he can't stop. Edits skin mags. Works in TV. Sells his soul to the big surf brands. Starts the world's biggest surf festival. Hangs with the big shots. Thinks he's one of them. And suddenly, he's fat and 50. And then along comes surfing. Remember me? Longboards, grandkids, happy times. He remembers why he married the girl he married. It's just one surfer's journey. And it's not over yet.
When I was negotiating book deals with American publishers on behalf of Quicksilver, they said to me, look, can you put together a multiple book deal, because we're sure that we can get a whole range of titles out of Quicksilver experience. So there were all these ideas, and my friend Peter Townend, PT, the 1976 world champion, we were having dinner one night in California, and he said, why don't you do a book on Kelly Slater? And I said, because it's already been done, which it had. Brought out a fairly sort of normal sports star biography fairly early in his career. He only had 3 or 4 world titles at that point. Then PT and I started talking about it more, and he said, well, but what's happened since that biography is a whole new chapter of Kelly. In fact, it's more than a chapter. It's a whole new universe of Kelly, because he's become this incredible uber star. He's almost bigger than the sport itself. How has he done that? What does the guy think about? What makes him tick? Get inside his head. And I started to think that would be a really interesting book to do. But there was one small problem. By this stage, I'd known Kelly for more than 10 years, but we'd usually been on opposite sides of the fence. Not initially. I initially met him at the Quicksilver Pro in G-Land, and found him to be a really interesting dinner companion. Really, well, I knew he was an incredible surfer, but I actually got to see him, from the shoulder as he lacerated speedies. Oh my God, guy was just inspiring to be in the water with. But then we became enemies, or I assumed that he thought of us as enemies, because his brief with Quicksilver as their #1 team rider, sponsored rider, was very loose, and everybody seemed to be afraid to ask him to do the things that we expected of him. And this usually had the effect, particularly in Europe, when he was in Europe, of causing ill feeling on both sides. And often I was the meat in that sandwich. And on one particular occasion, when we were in Munich in Germany, we had some big TV deal lined up. It was early in the morning. I had the TV crew ready to go outside Kelly's hotel. Kelly was meant to join us for coffee downstairs, and then we were going to go off and do this day-long shoot. And Kelly was nowhere to be found. I tried ringing his room from the lobby, no answer. I went up and rapped on the door, no answer. I went back down to the lobby, waited 10 minutes, and then tried ringing again, no answer. This time I went back upstairs and I rapped really heavily on the door. And Kelly came out with a phone in his ear, tears streaming out of his face. And he put his fist up like this, I presumed that he meant 5 minutes, slammed the door in my face. And it later transpired that his then girlfriend Pamela Anderson had dumped him on the phone, and I thought he really would never forgive me for that. However, I organised a meeting with his management team. Kelly was also there at their offices in Venice Beach, California, and went through the plan. Said the publisher's really eager to do this. It'll be a big selling book in America and around the world. And we just want to get inside your head, basically. You call the shots, but it's about what you think, what Kelly Slater is, what he thinks, what he eats, where he goes when he's not surfing, what he tries to do in the surf, when he's free surfing. All these elements to the Kelly Slater equation. And you do it on your own terms. And I said to Kelly, you know, in view of our past history, I'm prepared to be the project manager, but step aside and let somebody else be the author of the book with you, if you prefer that. He said, nah, you do it. When do we start? And he just said goodbye to everybody and split. Just call me when you're ready. And thus began a 2-year period of waiting for Kelly, which is what I called the introduction. Called it Waiting for Kelly, but I gave it to him to read. And he said, wow, you really give it to me straight here. Because that's, I mean, as one of his very close friends explained to me one time when I was a bit peeved that he kept me waiting for about 3 hours for an appointment. He said, Kelly's not being rude to you, he's just being especially attentive to the guy that was before you. But the fact that I often found myself waiting in hotel lobbies or, you know, in beach bars around the world, it was a worthwhile project, and I was very happy to be part of it. The surf sessions that I remember most vividly. One in particular that stands out because it's not only is it a standout session, but it's also the most embarrassing moment in my surfing life. Was at Cloudbreak in Fiji on a fairly substantial day. Well, by my standards, shall we say. I was riding a Ben Iper Stinger supermodel. It was 9'4", loaned to me by a good mate of Kelly Slater's, an older guy like me, and it was beautiful. There were beautiful waves, and I found myself in a part of the lineup, you know, pretty much down on the inside, not too far from Shish Kebabs, the tail end section of the wave, just up from that. And I was surfing in close proximity with Kelly and with Shane Dorian, who at that time was a boat guy at Tavarua. But a set came, and I gave an indication that I wanted it, which was rather cheeky of me. But you know, with those guys, if you don't show your intention, you don't get the wave. And so I started paddling, and they were calling me in. I said, "Go, go, go, Phil, go!" And I was stoked. I was paddling in, and just prior to this, a guy called Clay Marzo, a young surfer with a huge reputation, a young free surfer with a huge reputation, but a real maverick, a real loner as well. And he'd been lurking up the line and whistling when, if somebody would start to paddle into a wave and he thought he could make it from where he was, he would come out with this really shrill whistle. So I was aware of him, but I certainly hadn't seen him anywhere near this wave. And as I paddled in and started dropping down the face, I thought I heard Marzo's whistle. So I hit the bottom of the wave. I just put a lot of power into my bottom turn because it was sort of like, there was only one little window there to get out, you know, otherwise you were committed down the line. And I turned really hard up the face and got out the back of the wave. And Kelly Slater, the greatest surfer in the world, ever, in history, and Shane Dorian, greatest big wave, one of the greatest big wave riders ever, and certainly one of the greatest surfers at Cloudbreak ever, have given me the wave, and they're sitting there and I've just pulled out of it. And they just looked daggers at me, and Slater just swore at me, and Shano just kind of shook his head in wonderment, and they were like, "You poor, twisted, stupid old man." They didn't say that, but that's what I was hearing. Marzo was nowhere near it. I don't know what I heard. Maybe I was just scared, or maybe I heard something, but I don't know. I'll never get to the bottom of it, but I have to live with it. And Kelly, to his eternal credit, never said another word about it. He never has to this day, and I doubt that he would even remember it now. But I'll never forget it.